Hey people, it is Monday, July the 17th. Time is 4:28 in the afternoon. It's currently a very hot 25 Celsius, feeling more like 30. And I just boarded the Up Express train here at Union Station. It's set to depart at 4:30. It heads to Pearson Airport, but I'm only going to be riding it as far as Weston. And then I'll be getting off there at Weston and then taking a walk around the Weston neighborhood. Weston is a former town that is now part of the city of Toronto, in the York section of Toronto. And this train is pretty packed, but it's nicely air conditioned. So there's there are two stops between here at Union and Pearson Airport, one being Bloor and the other being Weston. Maybe I'll take a walk over this way. Lots of people use this train to commute, not only to get to the airport. Maybe when we stop at Bloor, some people will get off and there might be some seats available. So it is rush hour now. So that also has something to do with why things are so busy. And these trains run every 15 minutes in both directions, both to and from Pearson Airport to Union. So the trip from Union to Pearson takes 25 minutes. So to Weston should take just over 15 minutes or so, maybe 15 to 17 minutes.
We are now approaching Bloor Station en route to Toronto Pearson International Airport. Change here to connect to TTC Dundas West Station and GO Transit services. Please be sure to take all of your belongings with you as you disembark, including any you may have stowed overhead. We would also remind Presto users to please tap off. Nous arrivons à la gare de Bloor en route vers l'aéroport international Pearson de Toronto. Descendez ici pour les correspondances de la TTC à la station Dundas West et de GO Transit. Avant de quitter le train, assurez-vous d'avoir récupéré tous vos effets personnels, y compris dans les compartiments à bagages situés au-dessus de votre tête. Si vous utilisez Presto, n'oubliez pas de passer votre carte devant le lecteur avant de quitter la gare.
Validate only with the press.
Bloor Station.
See, they have a luggage storage section here as well, since many people obviously will be taking lots of suitcases with them to the airport.
Release door 467. Stop Weston, West Station, second stop.
We are now approaching Weston Station, where you can connect to TTC and GO Transit services. Please be sure to take all of your belongings with you as you disembark, including any stowed overhead. We also remind passengers using Presto to please tap off. After Weston, our final stop will be Toronto-Pearson International Airport. Nous arrivons à la gare de Weston. Descendez ici pour les correspondances de la TTC et de GO Transit. Avant de quitter le train, assurez-vous d'avoir récupéré tous vos effets personnels, y compris dans les compartiments à bagages situés au-dessus de votre tête. Si vous utilisez Presto, n'oubliez pas de passer votre carte devant le lecteur avant de quitter la gare. Notre prochain et dernier arrêt est l'aéroport international Pearson de Toronto.
Weston Station.
And there we go. 15 minutes later, I have set foot in Weston. Just take a look at the train as it gets ready to continue on its way to Pearson Airport. There it goes. So now I have to tap off here so I don't get charged for the full fare all the way to Pearson Airport. I tapped on, of course, before I boarded the train at Union Station. I think the fare from Union to Weston with a Presto card, there we go, $4.23. So very affordable. More than the TTC would have cost, but only about $1 more. And here's a look from Weston Station. So let's explore the former town of Weston, which became part of the borough of York, which is now all a part of the city of Toronto. And I just felt a raindrop. I specifically looked at the forecast before I headed out to record, and it didn't say it was going to rain.
Okay, we'll get down there. We'll get down there when you can do it.
Don't touch the rails. Too dirty.
Very big parking lot here. Not the most attractive welcome to the neighborhood. So Weston Road should be right over this way. There is a small commercial strip along Weston Road that serves as the main retail stretch for the neighborhood, with various shops and restaurants. And this neighborhood has sort of been neglected for many years, but just recently it has started to be noticed by developers as a place to put up some new residential buildings, and a few of them have already gone up, and as you can see, there are proposals for some pretty large buildings in the neighborhood that will certainly change the look and feel of Old Weston Road here. This neighborhood is considered one of the more troubled neighborhoods in the city. Fortunately, some incidents tend to happen. I don't do much to help the reputation of the area, but it has just as regular a mix of people as any other part of the city. And there are some charming old residential neighborhoods surrounding the commercial core here at Weston and Lawrence, with some historic homes. So Weston and Lawrence is sort of the main intersection. And it's been a while since I've done a video through here. Last time was during all the lockdowns, and also Weston Road was under construction, so things did not look very good at all at that time. It was fairly empty and lacking in people due to the lockdowns and whatnot, and also the streetscape looked all dug up and almost unwalkable in areas. It certainly looks a lot better now, and a lot livelier too. And since this was a separate town at one time, you'll find some streets that have the same names as streets in downtown Toronto. John Street here being one. I guess if you are to mail a letter or something to John Street in Toronto, you have to specify whether or not it's Weston Toronto or just plain old Toronto. Or even saying York would work as well, since Weston was part of York. Neighborhood Dollarama. The retail stretch doesn't go on for very long here, though. Weston was just a small village. It's kind of funny to see all the tall towers now surrounding the main street of what was a quaint little village. Most of these residential towers sprung up in the 1960s. And some newer additions, as I mentioned, are starting to make their mark on the skyline of the neighborhood. So the retail stretch sort of peters out here just up ahead, so I think I'll just cross the street and walk down the other way. Up ahead you can see King Street is crossing Weston Road, another street that shares a name with a much more well-known King Street, of course, in downtown Toronto. And Weston Road continues north all the way up past Steeles Avenue, where it leaves the city of Toronto and enters into Vaughan, a suburban city north of Toronto. And it passes through the Rexdale area on the way in Etobicoke. So here's King Street. Alright, let's walk back down the other side of Weston Road. Get a better look at some of the buildings on that side of the street. So there's also a GO station, of course, in addition to the Up Express station. So if you're coming from downtown Toronto, you have three different ways to get here. You can take the TTC, which will take the longest but be the least expensive. You can take a GO train or the Up Express. The commercial storefronts are a bit nondescript here. And they're probably not as old as the ones you see in the oldest strips down in central Toronto along Queen Street, say, or King Street East. Looks like there's a proposal here for some more towers as well. 29-story, 2-tower development on this parking lot. And I have a friend who lives in that tall building you can see towering behind. That's a rental building, not a condo. That's one of the newer additions to the neighborhood. I always thought this part of Toronto had a sort of New York City outer borough look and feel to it, something you might find in Brooklyn or parts of Queens, with all the tower block apartments and busy commercial strip. It's good to see it so lively. I think this part of the city is a bit lacking in these sorts of old walkable commercial strips, so lots of stuff tends to get concentrated here. And we're back at Weston and Lawrence again. Lawrence Avenue is a very long street that goes across much of the city, and it changes its look and character along the way several times. Some parts look downright suburban, other parts look much more urban. And it's a very busy bus route. I think some of the buses that run through this part of the city are among the busiest bus routes in the whole network. See lots of Caribbean businesses along Weston Road. There's a very large Caribbean presence in the area. Just to the south of here is another neighborhood called Mount Dennis, which shares many similarities with Weston. It also has a commercial strip. It's not quite as lively as the one here in Weston, though. And looking back over to the Up Express station again. Town of Weston, you can see the street signs still proclaim its former status. That guy really knows how to not have to carry his heavy bags. And the commercial strip extends a bit further here. There's also a notable Somali community around the area. Some of these old apartment towers, though, are a bit worse for wear. I think rents in this part of the city are a bit cheaper than on average. I just heard a GO train go by. We are quite far from the heart of the city, obviously. And there's no subway line that passes through Weston, but the new Line 5 Eglinton Crosstown will terminate not too far south of here at Weston and Eglinton, and eventually that will be extended further west. So it wouldn't be too much trouble to just take a bus down to Weston and Eglinton, probably a quick 5-minute bus ride, and there you could hop on Line 5 whenever it opens. It was long overdue. And from there, we could easily connect to Line 1 to head downtown. And if you go even further south to St. Clair Avenue, there you can catch the 512 St. Clair streetcar, which runs on a right-of-way along St. Clair Avenue, and that will take you to St. Clair West Station, where you could also transfer onto the subway on Line 1. I think that building is a newer addition to the neighborhood as well. And another proposal here for a 25-story tower. Rather striking design here on this one. And I know there are some other proposals for even taller buildings. I think there's one for a tower in the 40-story or more range that I saw. Here's where things start to peter out and the street transitions to a mix of residential and commercial. takes on a much more auto-oriented look here. But as I mentioned, a bit further south in Mount Dennis, it becomes more walkable again. So what I think I'll do is I'll wrap up this video here as I'm walking south along Weston Road, and maybe I'll start another video as I walk through Mount Dennis. So I hope you enjoyed the Up Express ride from Union Station up here to Weston in northwest Toronto, the former town of Weston. Rather lively little pocket of the city. So leave a comment down below if you enjoyed, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. And there's also a super thanks button right down below if you'd like to support the channel that way. And I see another development notice across the street for more towers. So thank you for watching, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.